Hello, Black Healing Matters family. This is Danielle here at the Black Healing Matters podcast, where we offer you ideas to hopefully move you one step closer to your healing. And I'm so excited, every Thursday, every day actually, but every Thursday is a reason to rejoice, not just because it's almost Friday. No, that's not the reason, but because I don't have to do all the talking today. Yeah. And no, we get to invite a guest onto our show, bring somebody into our space here on Doing the Right Things Thursdays who is doing just that, the right things. We catch somebody in the act of doing great things, bringing positivity and joy to this world, which we just don't get to see all that often. So today I have for you a real treat. And some of you may remember this person from the holiday healing panel that I posted back during the holidays that we did together. And she was so phenomenal. And the response just from her energy was so great that I just had to bring her back on. Who am I talking about? I'm talking about Miss Danielle Lyles Barton. And today we have her on the show. She is a California native, a nomad at heart. Danielle Lyles Barton made her way to Chicago. Woo, shout out to Chicago, where she vigorously pursued self-discovery and self-development. As a result of her own journey, love and healing are the forces that deeply guide Danielle, which led her to the creation of Healing for Her. Danielle is a heart healer and a spiritual activist who is intentional about creating safe space for women of color to love, heal, and breathe. She assists women to transform emotional trauma and heartbreak into the manifestation of life's dharma, drawing deeply from her own healing experience and spirituality. As well, I noticed she has recently changed her name. So she's going to tell us a little bit about that too. So Danielle, are you there?
Yes, I am here. Hello, and thank you for having me.
It's a pleasure. I'm really excited to have you back on. Just your energy and the excitement that you bring, it just let me know that you're somebody we have to keep in contact with here at the Black Healing Matters podcast. So Danielle, can you tell us a little bit about, I noticed that you changed your name from Danielle Barton to now Danielle Lyles Barton. Can you tell us a little bit about that and maybe even what you're working on currently?
Yes. So I was formerly known as Danielle D. Barton, and everyone who knows me, everyone who I've worked with in the past, knew just how important that D was to me. It was my middle initial, and I'm a big believer in our identity and in the language that we use. And as I continue to navigate through my own healing journey, I find myself especially focusing on my womanhood. And with that comes the stories of my mother, my grandmothers, my great-grandmothers, all of these women in my life who have been incredibly strong. And in fact, it is their stories that I carry with me. It is their experiences that really shape who I am and my relationships with these women. And so as I start to look at my womanhood, my identity, get more familiar with my own womb, I just really connected with the matriarchal side. And I, kept grappling with how do I honor, my father's side and what he, contributes to my identity, but also honor this incredibly strong lineage of women whose shoulders I get to stand on, whose stories I get to nurture and steward. And the best way to do that was to take on their identity. And so my mother's maiden name is Lyles, and I have decided to drop the D and take on, Lyles. And so my new name, my new identity is Danielle Lyles Barton. And every time I say that name, every time I write that name or I hear someone say it, it just feels complete. It feels most true and most authentic. And so I've given people the opportunity to sort of grieve Danielle D. Barton and, have reintroduced them to this new woman, this completely new and complete identity, this whole person that I call Danielle Lyles Barton.
That's beautiful. I love it. And you're right. Just the name that we call ourselves has such an impact. And if it can bring that much joy to you, then I'm in awe. That's amazing.
Thank you.
So what are you working on right now, Miss Danielle Lyles Barton?
Well, I have a couple of projects underway that I'm not able to talk about just yet.
Ooh, you're important. Fancy, y'all.
No, we're just still in the planning. We're just still in the planning phase. But most recently, I think the last time I was on, I was preparing for my Sow the Seeds Women's Manifestation Retreat. And that happened over the New Year weekend. It was beautiful. This beautiful venue. We focused on manifestation. We focused on healing. We really dug into our shadow selves. Of course, we connected to our womb and our female identity. And that was so impactful for both the women who came and Carlene, my co-host, and I, that we have decided to do this again. Awesome. So we have some national cities in mind that we'll be bringing this to, and some international countries that will be taking Sow the Seeds. So yes, Sow the Seeds is going international.
I'm excited. Yay. That's good.
So that is, that's a project that I'm really proud of. And it is the gift that keeps on giving, because right around the time when the retreat, leading up to the retreat, I found myself in a life transition, and I got to go through the same steps of manifestation that we were teaching in our curriculum again for myself. Right. It was, like I'm talking 7 days, before doing the retreat, I was, faced with this opportunity to re-examine the life that I want to create for myself. And I think that momentum that was being ignited within me, or reignited within me, and then igniting that within the women who attended, has just exploded into this project we get to now take overseas.
Wow. I love how you called it an opportunity. Most people are not able to, to take what happens to them and turn it into an opportunity. And that's genius. That's gold. Really amazing. So this program that you're looking to do, where did you do it during the new year, and where are you planning to do it next? If you can tell us. I know it's top secret, but if you can. I'm pushing hard for you, Black Healing Matters family. Come on. I'll try to get the details.
Well, so the inaugural retreat was held here in Chicago. And the next one will not be in Chicago. It will be somewhere in the DMV. Now that's all I can give you. Okay. I can't tell you exactly that. But it will be in the DMV.
Okay. All right. Well, that's good enough. Thank you for that tidbit. But I'm looking forward to hearing about it.
Yeah. Okay.
Then
I'll be dropping some more information about our international retreat.
Yay!
As it gets closer. Yeah, as it gets closer to time, but it's going to be in a tropical area. It's going to be, of course, warm and sunny. That was a must for Carlene and I. We said we're getting out of the winter. We're going to take some time away and go follow the sun. Beyond that, I got to keep it hush hush.
Okay. But I mean, that's enough right there. I'm happy with that. Just a nice tropical place. That sounds lovely. Awesome. Wow. I mean, Danielle, you're such a gift to the world. Obviously, all that you're doing, all that you're bringing with of course, even just through your seminars and through the work that you're doing, I know that you're changing lives. I was reading your website. I'm like, wow, this is amazing. And her, by the way, Black Healing Matters family, her website is beautiful. You definitely got to check it out. Okay. It's beautiful. DanielleLylesBarton.com. Beautiful. Okay. But can you tell us, Danielle, I know you work with so many different people from different walks of life, different ages, especially women. And I know you also work with a number of Black people, Black women. And so can you give us some kind of maybe tips or strategies to kind of start this or initiate this process of healing that you see, maybe that Black women particularly may be looking for?
Yes. Goodness, there are so many different healing modalities or rituals or self-care tips that are out there that we have to explore for ourselves to find out what resonates most with our spirit. But what is across the board the same and essential to healing is becoming invested in discovering who we are. Mm-hmm. And really getting back to that idea that God had when God created us. And, a lot of times we call this our purpose in life. Yeah. Getting clear on who we are in the eyes of God is the essential tool for healing. Now, I'm saying that, and I very much realize that that's not just an overnight type of process, and it's not direct, and it's messy, and it's scary, and it's confusing. It's all of these things, but as a dear friend of mine, Danielle Young, lots of Danielles, okay, in my life.
It's a great name. It's a great name. It's bound to get around. So
as my friend Danielle Young says, you have to feel to heal. Mm. So getting in touch with who we are designed to be means that we have to let go of everything else that inhibits us from being that person, which means that we have to look at our ish. It means that we have to do what's called the shadow work. We have to really go into the depths and the uncomfortable spaces and figure out, why am I doing these things? Why am I calling these experiences into my life? Things don't just happen to us. Nothing happens to us. Everything is a choice. Everything is a choice. And so accepting, I chose this, and just getting clear on why and how did I reflect this? What type of thinking did I have that I need to let go that's outdated? What stories are playing in my mind that are false? What am I holding on to that's no longer serving me? So it's very much the shedding process of taking off the layers, peeling off the mask, getting uncomfortable, looking at yourself. All of these things are, ways to lead us to healing. And that can look a number of different ways. For me, yoga helps to facilitate that. For someone else, it may be journaling. For another person, it may be talking with the therapist. So the modality is not as important as it is with getting comfortable with your shadow self, your ugly self, that version of yourself that you're not proud of, your shame story, that secret that you're still holding on to, that thing that happened to you way back when, the darkness, which makes the light possible, by the way.
Yes. And so when you say shadow work, shadow self, I mean, I understand what you're saying as far as shadow self, but for our listeners, When you say shadow work, what does that entail, actually, doing shadow work?
Mm-hmm. It's getting up close and personal with your ugly self. It's going back into those stories that hurt, that have caused pain and torment. Taking a close look at that thing that happened to you, or that thing that someone said to you, and dancing with it and playing with it and flipping it upside down and really examining it. It is intentionally going right into the dark, not aiming for the light and let me namaste this away. It is the exact opposite. It is intentionally going into that thing that causes you the most anguish and sitting with it and looking at it and talking about it and journaling, in just revisiting that with the intention of, I want to understand this so that I can heal this.
And so when you go through that process of now you understand it, then what is the next step to healing it?
Most times, if not every time, forgiveness. It's forgiveness. And forgiveness is one of those things. It does evoke that response. Because it is not, I forgive, but I won't forget. It is not, forgiveness is not, that sentiment. It is truly releasing the person or yourself from the decisions that were made that led to the experience of pain. And a lot of times we become so identified by our pain, either consciously or subconsciously, that the true resistance is actually no longer in the pain, but in the letting go of the story, in the letting go of the pain. Because without my pain, who am I? If I don't have that story to cling on to, who am I? If I'm not broken, what identity do I have? I don't know. I don't know who I am outside of my pain, outside of that hurtful experience. I have to rewrite that, and that feels incredibly scary. So the next step is forgiveness, which is a lot of the work that I do is centered around that.
Wow. Yeah, I understand exactly what you mean. And I really wanted to get that clear for the Black Healing Matters family and listeners. And I'm glad, thank you for really pinpointing what forgiveness is. That's so true. It's not, I forgive, but I won't forget. But it's really releasing that responsibility altogether. Thank you. That's beautiful. And you're absolutely right. So I assume during your retreats and events, you guide people through this process, right?
Yes, absolutely. So one thing that is unique about the retreats that I offer, and just to hone in a bit more, I'll focus in on the Sow the Seeds retreat. So everyone they love the topic of manifestation. Even other retreats that I do when we're focusing on purpose, right? People love, oh yes, I want to get clear on what I'm supposed to do. That's exciting. That's energizing. Before we even get to that, we go straight into the shadow work. So I always tell people vulnerability is the prerequisite with me, because I'm going to make you uncomfortable. I'm going to challenge you. There's going to be some friction.
Yeah.
But on the other side of that, you get to manifest and co-create your life. You get to become the author of your experience in this world. But the only way to truly get to that and have ultimate freedom is to dive straight into the shadow work. And of course, that means that forgiveness is part of that.
Yeah, that's the truth all day. As I told you, I just came from this Tony Robbins event, and that's one of the first things we get into is, like you said, shadow work and dealing with forgiveness and dealing with the things that, these things that we believe about ourselves, these beliefs and the pain and the story that we've been running, the negative stories that we've been running about ourselves that are really just limiting us. And then, like you said, who am I without that story? It's a core shaking, or rather core shaping experience. And I'm sure that the participants in your retreats, they come out changed people. They come out completely different. Yeah, you can't help but be changed through that process. Wow. Thank you so much, Danielle, for that insight and that clarity on what it is to heal. I think sometimes healing gets this kind of like a woo-woo kind of, like the, stars in heaven align and all of a sudden, being I'm healed. But like you mentioned, there's pain, it's going through the pain. Wow.
Here's the intrinsic thing that people usually, or inherit, rather, the inherent thing that people often forget about healing. We love, this notion, this idea of healing. We want to be healers. We want to be healed. But think about that word. In order to be healed, in order to need healing, that means that there was some sort of trauma,
right,
that existed.
That's right.
And you cannot get to healing without getting through the trauma.
Mm-hmm.
It's impossible. Healing would not otherwise exist.
Yeah, without trauma. That's the truth. That's a powerful idea. Oh, man, I hope you guys are taking notes, because I am. I'm taking notes over here. So this is gold. Whew, wow. Thank you so much, Danielle. This is beautiful. Those distinctions are really, really powerful. Wow. I don't even want to end this, but I know you're busy and it's late where you are
Me
too.
neither.
I just got to ask you, where and how can we get in contact with you? If the Black Healing Matters family feel like, if you feel like this is something that you need to go through, you need to experience, and you want an expert to help walk you through this process, how can we get in contact with you, Danielle? Of course, all your social media, websites, and everything.
Yes. Well, to all of the Chicago-based listeners on this podcast, I do teach once a month with the Black Girl in Om community and some other communities around the Chicago land area. So that's an excellent way for you to touch base with me. But no matter who you are and where you are, the best way to just find out about what city I'm popping into or what happening I have, some digital offerings that I have coming up, will absolutely be my website, which is www.daniellelylesbarton, Lyles. Social media, same thing, Danielle Lyles Barton on Instagram and Facebook. So just across all platforms, if you type in my new name, you will find me, and don't hesitate to, send me a message and say hello and talk with me. All right.
Awesome. Thank you so much. And do you by chance have any just tentative idea of when your next retreat will happen?
Yes. So the next retreat will happen in the summertime. The Sow the Seeds retreat. It's a women's retreat, and again, that's going to be on the East Coast in the DMV. So I absolutely recommend, ladies, that you attend that. And the international retreat will be at the end of the year when it's cold here in the States, and then we get to go overseas to continue more of this work.
Yes. That sounds amazing. And yes, please do keep me posted because I'm excited to to see where you're going in the world. Maybe I can meet up with you there. That'd be awesome.
Yes.
Wow. Thank you so much, Danielle. So amazing. Again, you always deliver the goodies. I appreciate you so much. And not just for what you're doing here, but what you're doing all over the world, really. You know, the impact that you're having is one that is so needed. And that's another reason I wanted to have you here on the podcast again, because you know what you're doing is something that we all truly need, no matter who you are, man or woman. We need this. We need healing. So appreciate you so much, Danielle. And on that note, Black Healing Matters family, I love you. Stay blessed. And as always, Black Healing Matters.